In this video, I'm looking at day 1, questions 8 through 13. We're going to start off by solving the literal equations. You're following the same steps that you would solve any other equation. Here, we're asked to solve for P. So we locate our P, and we need to know what operations are going on. Whenever you have variables next to each other, that means we are multiplying. So the P is being multiplied by the R and the T. So we are multiplying by RT. So if I'm going to solve this, I need to do the inverse, which means I need to do the opposite. The opposite of multiplying is going to be to divide. I'm going to divide by RT, and whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Because I do not have any values for the variables, I'm going to leave my left side as A over RT, or A divided by the product of R and T. On the right side, my R's reduce out to a 1 as well as the T's, leaving me just with the P. So my P has been solved for because it's isolated. If you wanted, you could switch the sides around. So I would have P equals A divided by my RT. Both of these are the same. I just switch it so the P would be on the left. Looking over at question 9, where we're solving for A. So same thing, the first thing you want to do is identify where your variable is so you can see what operations are happening to it. The A is being multiplied by the M minus R because of those parentheses. So it's being multiplied by M minus R. And then we're adding the T. So if I'm going to solve, the inverse is going to be to subtract the T from both sides. So I'm going to do a slanted line here. That leaves me with A times M minus R is equal to S minus T. I can't combine them because I don't know what those variables are representing. Then, instead of multiplying by MR, we have to divide. Everything gets divided by that M minus R. When we do that on the left, the M minus R reduces out, leaving us just with the A equals, and then once again, I don't know what any of those variables are, so I just bring them straight down to give me my final answer. And then the last literal equation, question 10, which is closest to what you'll see on your test. We're solving for X. I want my X isolated. So once again, I go and I see, okay, what's going on with the X? It's next to the A, which means they're being multiplied together. So it's multiplying by the A, then subtracting the B. So in solving the inverse, from the bottom up, I would add B first to both sides. That leaves me with A times X. The B's cancel out, equals C plus B. And then instead of multiplying by A, the inverse would be to divide. Everything gets divided by A. My A's on the left cancel out, leaving me with X equals, and then my C plus B all divided by A, my final answer. Moving on to solving the inequalities, starting with question 11. It's the same as you would solve an equation, except if you multiply or divide by a negative, you use the inverse operation, or you flip the inequality symbol. So here, I'm going to add the 12 to both sides. When I do that, it leaves me with 4x is greater than or equal to 32. Those cancel out. Then divide by 4. Everything gets divided by 4. This leaves me with my x is greater than or equal to 8. Because it's also asking us to graph on my number line, let's say here is my 8. I have my 9 is after, 7's before. At the 8, since it's greater than or equal to, I have a closed circle, and it's greater than, so I'm going to shade everything over to the right. Okay? If I am looking at number 12 now, same steps as solving an equation. Okay? I want to get my variables on the same side, so I'm going to add my 4x to both sides. When I do that, it leaves me with negative 5x. My plus 3 comes down, my greater than. 4x's cancel out, my negative 7 moves down. Then I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. That leaves me with negative 5x. My 3's cancel out, is greater than negative 10. I divide both sides by negative 5. And this leaves me with x is less than 2. I flipped my inequality symbol. I reversed it because we divided by a negative. Okay, so then when we graph on the number line, here's my 1, 2, 3. At the 2, it's an open circle, and I'm shading over to the left. Okay. Last one here, number 13. Okay. First thing is going to be to distribute. That 3 is going to go to everything in the parentheses. So 3 times p is 3p. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. My minus 7p is still there. My less than 6 is also still there. Now, combine our like terms. 3p minus 7p is a negative 4p. My negative 6 moves down, less than 6. I want my p isolated, so I'm going to move my negative 6. Inverse is going to be to add 6 to both sides. My negative 4p is still there. My 6's cancel out. And then my positive 6's turns into a positive 12. Divide by a negative 4. That leaves me with p is greater than negative 3. Once again, the inequality symbol reverses because we divided by a negative. Graphing on a number line. Here is my negative 4, negative 3, negative 2. At the 3, we have an open circle, and this time we're shading over to the right.